if you find a solution to it, then maybe Delhi will be spared at least part of this problem.
Crop burning always comes into the news when we are in this part of the year. It is one of the worst polluted cities in the world.
As you rightly said, Delhi air pollution is very bad, and me coming from Bangalore, it's really bad for us.
All of us need to kind of do something about it beyond words.
Every time a citizen of Delhi walks out and breathes in, he feels hurt. Now, is Delhi the worst polluted in terms of air pollution capital city in the world? And what is responsible for it?
It is one of the worst polluted cities in the world. And there are a range of things that are responsible, and that's why it is a difficult problem to solve. There is transport, a lot of vehicles moving on the road, which contributes to it, the tail end emissions. There is resuspended dust. There is a lot of dust which gets resuspended in the air, which also causes pollution. There is crop burning, like the residue burning, which is happening in and around Delhi, which also contributes to this. There is construction in the city and not adhering to construction norms. Every builder house that is getting built, if they're not going to actually contain all the micro emissions that are going and coming out into the environment. Then there is sometimes, especially in winters, there is open fire. There is open fire for your watchmen, for security guards who are out in this night and in the cold. So there are a range of multiple issues, and once in a while there is also open burning of the waste that also contributes to this pollution. So
you outlined all the points, and very rightly too. Now tell me, crop burning, that's entirely avoidable. If you find a solution to it, then maybe Delhi will be spared at least part of this problem. How bad as a percentage of the pollution is coming from crop burning, and what can be done to avoid it?
Yeah, well, that's a great point. Crop burning always comes into the news when we are in this part of the year. Give and take, different studies give different estimates, because meteorology can change how much crop burning is contributing to Delhi, because depending on the wind speeds and so on. But by and large, let's say in this part of the year, it could be about 20 to 25% of the contribution coming from crop burning. But now, why do farmers burn crop? Because they're not seeing a value in that crop residue, and they want to clear the farms quickly. There's a labor cost involved if they were to cut it out and so on. If we can create a value out of that farm waste, that is how you would solve this problem. Not by saying to farmers, please don't cut it. You need to make an economic case for them. And now we are seeing, and especially at the conclave that we are doing today, different innovative solutions, entrepreneurial solutions emerging that are creating a value out of that waste. That are taking that biomass and making it into biopellets for energy use. That are taking that biomass and making it into gypsum boards, replacements, which can be used in commercial and industrial buildings. They are taking that biomass and making new materials out of it, which can replace your polyester and other fibers. So those are the value additions that we need to look at. And they are also taking that biomass and creating nutrients out of it, which can go back to the soil.
Yes, all of this is very viable, and perhaps it will happen one day. But at this point, 25% is what you're saying. And equally importantly, we've all been hearing about rain and artificial rain and all that. How sensible are these options?
I think all of these different options are coming out of desperation. We want to solve. So the intent is right. But if you do not have the moisture in the atmosphere, you cannot seed rain just by seeding clouds. You need that fundamental moisture to ultimately get the rain. So the intent is right, but you need to figure out, is meteorology also supporting you to do some of these things? So you can induce rains, but without moisture you cannot.
You're an environmental expert. You deal with the environment. You're fighting climate change. You see the air pollution in Delhi. How bad is it, and what can be done?
Yeah. So, as you rightly said, Delhi air pollution is very bad, and me coming from Bangalore, it's really bad for us when we look at it. Now, it's a function of multiple factors. One is your vehicles running. One is the Punjab growing paddy and burning the stubble. So there are so many factors which are influencing this thing, right? And we need to address it at the root as to, very deep, why is Punjab growing paddy in the first place, right? And then actually what we are doing right today is trying to solve the problem of stubble burning. But fundamentally we're not asking the question, why is Punjab growing paddy, right? Because they're not consuming paddy, right? So in a similar way, there are a lot of things we are doing, which is actually end of the day leading to burning of either the plastics or the waste or the commute itself. When you talk about public transport, is there good public transport? Why are there so many vehicles? So it is a factor of the way we are living, the way we are producing, and the way we are consuming. And most of it is today centralized production systems, which is leading to massive air pollution, right?
Yeah, you spoke about crop burning. Now, is there a magic bullet? Is there anything we can do to ensure that the crop burning problem does not affect Delhi?
Frankly speaking, at Rainmaker Foundation, we don't really believe in silver bullets. There is no one solution. These are all very systemic problems. So when you talk about crop burning, we need to understand why they are burning. Fundamentally, they are burning because there's just a 15-day gap before which they have to do the next sowing, right? So then what is that system? What is the MSP? What is the current cropping system? What are the alternate cropping? Like for example, the government of India recently came out with pulses, oil seeds, diversification of the crop itself. Maybe that itself is a very systemic solution. But there are technical solutions for crop burning which could be like a band-aid solution which can reduce the problem for now. Which is one, there is a in situ mulching after sowing wheat. That is, I've seen that working in a lot of places. Then there's another baling of the paddy hay, which is again used in a brick kiln or as a fodder. No, that's another solution, which is immediately working in a lot of places right now in Punjab, which will help in Delhi. But as a systemic solution, we need to look at diversifying from paddy itself. Because it's not just the air pollution there, the water, there is a lot of systemic problems in terms of water, air, the chemical usage, soil going bad. There's so many problems with paddy itself in Punjab as of today. The cancer is a very big issue, right? So all these things are actually combined issues.
The air quality is a little different from Cambridge in Massachusetts, right? And how much worse is it?
It's terrible, actually. I think all of us experience it. You choke, your eyes burn, and you feel terrible because it depresses you when you go out and see. And I hope this is a wake-up call for all of us, and we start doing something about it. And when I say we, I mean people like us, people in the industry, people in the government, the citizenry. All of us need to kind of do something about it beyond words.
Undeniably, one reason, of course, apart from the cars and people burning stuff to keep warm, is the fact that 25% of the pollution comes from burning of crops or crop waste. Now, is there a solution?
So, I'm not sure about that figure, honestly, because, depends where you read, who you listen to. The figure varies from 5% to 25%. But I was reading somewhere recently, a report in India only, which said that in the last 5 years, there have only been 11 days in last 5 years where the air quality has been clean and as per international standards. Rest of the days, Delhi could have been declared as polluted. Now, according to I'm not an expert in this area. According to me, we are polluted through the year, and there are various reasons for that, right? First is this, and it's not a Delhi problem, it's an Indo-Gangetic Plain problem, right? The whole airshed. And one reason is this area is very heavily populated, right? And because of population, the pollution increases because all of us have needs of cooking, driving, doing various other activities, consuming. A lot of waste is generated that's burnt, So population is a big driver towards pollution, right? The second is the systems, right? Even in Delhi, if you see, probably 8 to 10% of the pollution comes from burning of waste. Right? So we have these huge landfills outside. Even if we don't ourselves voluntarily put fire on them, they catch fire and burn, right? 8 to 10% of the pollution comes from there. There are I think 1.4 million vehicles or maybe more in Delhi. Imagine the pollution that they're adding. Look at the construction activity going on. Look at the road dust being generated, right? All these things are added to that. But other than that, there are a couple of other reasons for it. One is, the geography and the geology of the place. So Delhi is in a kind of a basin, right? What happens is, because it's a basin, pollution tends to come and collect here, right? The second reason is that till the monsoons, we have the winds blowing from the east along the Himalayas, towards the west, bringing rain, cleaning things up, and also kind of taking the pollution away from them. But after the monsoons, the wind direction changes. It starts coming back. And this wind is very, very slow. And now it's coming between, when it comes on the Gangetic Plain, there are Himalayas on one side, and there are Aravalis and Vindhyas on the other. So it forms a conduit. Pollution cannot escape either way. So it stays within the Gangetic Plain, right? The third thing that happens is that there are these wind patterns, right? One is called the Hadley's Circle. I won't go into the details. The other one as well. They, from the top, bring cold wind down, right? So on one side you have very slow wind bringing pollution into Delhi and almost sticking it here. And on the other, you have wind forcings from the top pushing it down, right? So pollution tends to stay here. The third factor, which is very important, is there's something called as the temperature inversion. Now, because of the geology of the place and Himalayas being next to us, what happens is that the land starts cooling faster than the air during the onset of winters. So what happens is the pollution-ridden air starts sticking to the ground. So you saw that pollution-ridden air could not move laterally. Now it can't even move vertically, right? So it stays here and gives us the kind of hell that we are living in.
So basically, we have no chance unless we sort out our lives ourselves.
Absolutely. I think we as people need to change our lifestyles, undoubtedly. But I think a lot of onus for that lies on the policymakers as well, the businesses, the policymakers. All I'm trying to say is that collectively we need to sit down and work out. There are ways that you can get rid of it. So much of, for example, road dust flying. If you mulch the sides of the roads, that'll settle down. A quick incentivization towards electric vehicles will help. Now, electric vehicles, when you take the life cycle analysis for them, don't reduce pollution right now. They will in the future. But at least it'll get dispersed. It'll go out of these concentrated areas into, spread all over. So at least you won't suffer as much. There are a lot of other ways that we could work towards reducing it. I think we need citizen cooperation and a political will to do that.